Hello, my name is not Matthew, and in this video I want to talk about the math of DnD 5th edition. In his Dice Math video, Matthew Colville presents an argument regarding player psychology. You can find a link to his video under this video. The core of the argument is that players react differently to a 5% increment in their chance to hit depending on what the original chance to hit was. Players will feel a drop from 45% to 40% more than a drop from 70% to 65%. In this conflict between the math and the player experience, the players have to be the ones who are wrong, right? Well, no, because that's not what's going on. It is not a conflict between the player experience and the math. This view is a professional bias. It's a conflict between the player experience, which is intuitively dynamic and relative, and the game designer's code, which is most often static and absolute. Human beings did not evolve knowing the physics of our universe. Even to this day, the true working of the cosmos escapes us. When we do a task, we do not know the probability of that task succeeding beforehand. Through repetition and observation, we get a feel of how likely something is to succeed or not. We perceive change in these probabilities based on how two different groups of experience compare. We do not perceive change in probabilities by knowing the change in the absolute variables of the applicable laws of psychohistory. Players experience probabilities Players experience probabilities dynamically. Why am I having so dynamically? Dynamically. And relatively. Game designers experience the world they create via the laws of their universe, via their code. Not only do they have access to the laws of their universe, they create them. Each action has a known, given chance of success. It can be viewed separated from any other sequence of events. Because their code uses math, they tend to confuse their code with math. In this case, Matthew Colville's focus on the code leads him to say that the math of a drop from 45% to 40% and the 70% to 65% are both drops of 5%, and as such are equivalent drops. Any perception of the contrary must be player psychology. In other words, the problem isn't in the code, it must be a player brain fart. Relatively speaking, a drop from 70% to 65% is roughly a drop of 7.14%, while a drop from 45% to 40% is a drop of 11.1 periodical percent. A 5% difference in the code does not translate to a 5% difference in the math. It is not simply a player psychology phenomenon. The math is on the player's side. In econometry, we learn to fix this kind of code with logs. For video games, game designers could learn a lot from social scientists to fix this problem without having to work around this so-called player psychology phenomenon. But for tabletops, I don't see how we can introduce logs to dice rolls. As DM and players, we should keep in mind that our code is flawed and that not all plus or minus 5% are equal. In this sense, Colville's advice on how to handle player psychology still stands, although for other reasons. Between the topic we just explored and my video on the plus 5 lie, I have no more bones to pick with Matthew Colville. I want to reiterate my respect for the man and his contribution to our tabletop community.